Right. So, definitely enjoying Maxx way more than I ever thought I would, right? If you went back to the start of the game, especially like Arc or even Bright Lights, and asked me would I ever play Mech, it would have been a resounding no. But yeah, no, I'm liking this. We'll run some aggro games. I am just getting awfully dumped on by fatigue currently, which is not fun. Had the new Florian OTK, Scepter of Pain, just trying to build Runechant and Fatigue out match, and I got them down to 5 life. That was kind of nice, but then I just fatigued out. Uh, take the full deck. But then I also do want to tinker around, especially with Gravy, right? Because it's actually, once you start looking, there's actually a ton of generics that actually kind of work well in Gravy. So I'm very interested to see what exactly we can start thinking about. Probably just double up all the allies, right? Because I'd expect around 6. Yeah, more just fatigue, I think. Still, we have a nice-ish start. Would have been better if we were going first, though. So I have the 3 for the Clan Press Banksy. Problem is, this does not land on anything, so I might as well use it first just to get the +3. Like the Opt, but yeah. I take it because it's a 3 block, right? And still a 0 for 3, rather than, a yellow 0 for 2. Because I just want more 0 for 3s to play, because again, the whole gist of this version of the Maxx deck is just I don't have to set up as much, right? Maintaining one Hyperdriver is basically the goal. Is it better to go for my Hyperdriver? No, because I can't get to 5, right? 3, 4, no. So yeah, just Clamp Press and Banksy. Which they should still have to block out because Clamp Press is just that threatening. Does feel, awful, crunking it. I wish I had one more counter. Because once I start rationalizing the stat value, it's a really great card, but you're paying 2 for, at best a +4. Sorry, at worst a +4, right? At best, plus infinite. So it is nice in that sense, but yeah. We can always want more. He just needs that little extra to up his curve, I think. Still fun, nonetheless. The letting the damage through is interesting. Again, the longer the current weeks go on, right, the more people rationalize that Banksy is the big thing to get rid of. Other than that, our turn is another Clamp Press, which is not something we necessarily want to see, but I can still get to the 3 again. Just Dumpster Dive becomes an issue, so it's basically 0 to 50. Foundry Heart, Clamp Press, Banksy, which sets me up for the following turn to be quite nice. Although they are definitely popping off as well. They got the Shadow Puppetry. What do I have to worry about? Runechant tokens and just a little bit of regain. Can't prevent. So skip, skip, skip. This is good. I was expecting them to be a bit more set-up-y. I'm going to skip. Well, technically I could use the Dumpster Dive. But no, I think we just maintain the pressure and see. It's probably still blocked with equipment though, just because that's a lot of damage. Oops, I was not meant to use the helm. Yeah. Oh well, it's early morning, forgive me. My brain's a bit sleeped. See, I'm not even formulating sentences correctly. So in terms of an aggro setup, it's definitely looking nice. Is it just flail? Or... no, it's either. Yeah, so it's just the same thing over and over again. Which is definitely really scary to get the Runechant back. Into another 6. See, why can't Maxx have that type of pressure? That was a 16 plus the Runechant damage. A 0 to 50. Boost. Just go for the double Clamp Press. I think we've lost at this point. We can't pressure enough damage. The problem is still just subjective to draws. Because it is definitely nice setting up 2 Clamp Presses, but not necessarily what you want. Should almost pivot and just go into an aggro line. And get the hyperdriver established. Swing 2 more times. Yeah. I'm greedy. I get to keep the dumpster dive for the following turn if they can't KO us. Which, full hand, right? I wouldn't put past them. Be able to do the 21. That's fine. No Arsenal card. So give me a whole bunch of zeros so we can have a nice big turn. Hyper Scrapper, also another card you hate seeing early. But, pitchable, we need to get to 4. Although I lose the Hyperdriver to boosting. At least I don't have to Foundry Art. So it's not too bad. A 4, a 5, a 2, and a 7. But we have to put up with whatever they're doing. A 7. Hopefully they don't have to go again. That'd be nice. Eloquence is just next. It's not one that pops, is it? What's another do? Pitch deck for Runeblade Aura with X or less put in the arena. So, another Malefic, or what's the verse one? That creates Rune Chant? I don't know if Vincent runs it. They do, because that's the one I'm thinking of. Well, that's fine. That's a little bit of reprieve. T-Bone. I suppose if they do block with the Caprice, T-Bone works. Yay. Fist bump. Beautiful. So swing for an 8. That's definitely nice. Go on, give me the out. No, they're just taking the damage. In which case, does it matter the order? Not really, because I'm boosting it anyway. Brink, then Jumpstart, then T-Bone, then Banksy. And maybe we can survive one more turn. Yes! We did it. Gotta love when you get correct order. Thank you for the creepers. Hopefully that ruins your turn. Submit it. I suppose they can pop it, right? What to do? May play next non-attack action card this turn is over or instant. Activate this ability if you've attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn. Oh, they've not done that, right? What was... No. What was the chain? Yes, non-attack. Beautiful. And then we still get to swing for an 8. Granted, given their board, we're still fairly far behind. It'll be a nice time to find a super up to sack the Clamp Press that we can't upkeep if they let the damage through. But that definitely takes a big OTK off the turn table there. Oh, give me the counter. Slowly inching back. Well, I want the Breaker Helm. Yeah, we're going to avoid some of that. And a 6. Only our hand was significantly good. Suppose the out into Vincent should actually be not aggro, just stalling. Hoping Blood Debt gets him low enough, then we pressure. I'm here to attack. Yeah, the triple hyperdrivers. It's every time. The fact that that's a half-truth is the worst part. We're dead anyway, but I probably should have boundary hearted. I've used Maxx, the hyperdriver, and stashed one in the arsenal. But yeah, if they can't do 6, I'd be surprised. Especially just through Rune Chance. Eh. We're one off as well still, though. But potentially salvageable. I can't necessarily gigawatts, right? Have one resource, go to 2. Yeah, no, I have to pitch one of the cards. I guess the swinging's better then. So we'll save the gigawatt. I might as well just sprocket rocket. Well, actually, no. I can if I gain the resource and give the hyperdriver. Yeah, that's slightly better. But it's still not enough pressure, right? Because it's only at a 7 anyway. So it's not even lethal. But it does potentially put them low enough if we can somehow survive. So then all we need is basically one boost, one pitch, and potentially continue to threaten them. A 4 into a 3 over and over would be nice. But if they don't give anything, then they definitely have us. I mean, most likely just through Rinchen alone, because I think we've actually, yeah, blue, 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 blue. So I've only got one more Steel Street Hoon, like 2 more Hyper Scrappers, 1 Clamp Press. I think there's like 4 blues left in the deck, so not great odds to find them. We probably need more than 1. Yeah, thinking if they can delay 1 more turn. But nah, I think they'll have the 6. They're like reading cards that I can't remember. When you play an attack action card, destroy this card gets go again. Is there any rationale to do it now instead of, I guess, the resource cost? No. Well, unless you're floating stuff, you do it on your turn. But yeah, Deathly Whale and Banshee. So how many more does it create? Creates 2 more, creates 3 more. And we didn't find a blue. If I take the 3 and the 2, no, it'd be 3 and 3. Let's have to pitch. God, what's the best way to defend? Block out 6? No, because it's another big card coming anyway. So I definitely don't think it matters. At least if I do this, that's less rune chance. But now I have nothing. So doesn't really matter. The next card gets me. I need the blues and I need the soup up. Where's a blue? I mean, if I can survive, potentially they just blood debt themselves. It's nice having the blue. May have clawed this back ever so slightly. Locked and loaded being a 3 buff, 3 block buff, making me like it a lot more. And go again, not so much. So we take 1 from the rune chant, 5, and then we have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 block. Oh, that's not good. And then a 7. Well, get that out of the way before I have to do some thinking. Use a red card in your banish zone, it gets to go again until a turn. So what are they coming with next? 4. I don't think it matters. We go down to 3. I block, I go down to 2. Oh, potentially we're fine. I can't do the math, it's too early. We'll see if we scrape by. That always wrecks me too. But there's 1 always missing from the stack. So if I keep a 3, only take 1. The flail's the issue as well. Is there a way for them to flail as well? Rain an eloquence token, I don't think so. That gets pitched into the eulogy, so it's just a 7 into a 4. No other rune chance, no nothing. Right? But I'm 1 off in block, I believe. Yeah, 1 off. Oh, plus they had more rune chant anyway. Oof. Alright, but I think my brain's warmed up enough. Still, the numbers are always nice. Once we get the ball rolling. Once we lose that momentum, it's very, very rough. Alright, let's look into gravy for a bit. And I think I'll try the bigger list, the taller list for Maxx. That's the wrong one. There are a lot of good blue generics for us to look through. We might as well get the Pirate and Necromancer cards out of the way. That's his weapon. The Overpower, I kind of feel is misleading. Like, the Go Again is fantastic. I know, in my head, I'm stuck on him always having, 2 to 3 allies on board. Like, it doesn't seem that hard to establish them, especially if you're taking 3s of everything. Right, so imagine he has 6 allies, then that's 18. So you should get 1 every turn, should be able to discard 1 every turn. You probably hold out until you can, double play them and set up. So I'll hold off on board the ship, I think. Even hoist him up. It's great value for a block, though. Do blocks have any alternative ruling? Because I know you can't defend on behalf of a ally, right? You prevents, you can, which is another thing to look into blue prevents that do such. Rules and policies. But my mind always gets boggled, right? Because block came out with the round the table, which then was also, what's his name? Chivalry guy. Well, he can't obviously defend allies. Oh god, how we played block, block, block. Wait, what? That card, any fights. I guess that doesn't really help. Anyway, do the pirate stuff. So he definitely wants gold. Next attack turn gets gold again for 3. Why would I take this when, you know, there's better ones to take? So Conqueror of the High Seas definitely always goes in. Gravy is definitely in blues. And treasure for gold and decent block. But then the big one is, what can we get by with the generics currently? So Tunic feels currently correct, right? Just gain a resource. Something like Rigor Mortis is fantastic. Mage Master for the go again? Kind of tempting. Depends whether you want the go again on the play or the go again on the attack. See, that's where it depends if whether or not he has X amount of allies, right? If you're needing more go agains to play them, then obviously Mage Master. If you need more go agains to string them together, then probably Snaps, right? No, none of them are low enough for Snaps. Snaps, cost or attack? Cost. And attack extra card, never mind. Actually, no. None of the go again boots are what I'm thinking. They're all... That's attack with less base, that doesn't work. That's cost and attack action card. So actually, you know what? The peg leg, I guess, is valid. We'll stick with Mage Master, though. Although, again, he's in blue, so... Does it really matter? It being 3 cost? What am I missing? I'm missing a head. Which is probably... Either Balance Adjusted comes back, because High Seas is just going to be a draw-heavy meta. Or probably just, currently, Providence. Shuffle, shuffle, no discard. I mean, the gold would be nice, but I think it's just too greedy. I mean, we want shenanigans to start, so we'll go with the gold. What am I missing? Nothing. Right? Chest, head, arms, legs, yeah. Alright. So, generic blues. Let's peruse. There's some interesting stuff, right? So, amulets, echoes. Would you want to discard 2 cards? I feel like that's overkill. Because you could line up the graveyard to play 2 of the same cards, right? With the same name, and then discard 2 more. Again, if there's a huge amount of allies, I could see something like Echoes working in that sense. Ablation, I definitely like. Maintaining X attack that you want to keep. Now, back alley break line. This in Chart of the High Seas was pointed out, and that looks just disgusting, right? Although this is where... Yeah, no. Pitch counts as its own because we have... Ah, God. Zealous Beating, right? So, yeah. So, Chart the High Seas to pitch a back alley break line, right? It means you're pitching it from the deck, meaning it's being put face up in the pitch zone from your deck. So, you gain the action point and the 3 resources. That seems disgusting. There's hits, nah. I mean, Brandish is also not horrid, right? Because it's a go again, activates your Watery Grave and gives, well, weapon attack, we don't know what his weapon's going to be just yet. And then anything that prevents just damage in general also seems great. Birds of the Past, this could be interesting if he does end up being really tanky, right? Because it'll be activate your Watery Grave and cycle a card back. You get to 10 or more defense reactions easily. Plus then, you know, utilizing against your opponent, Obviously Call the Grave is definite. You may put a non-attack action card from graveyard on top of your deck. So something like that, right? Just a rebound Call to the Grave. Does seem nice. Cost 0, you play this turn. Nope. Cash out, not needed. Potions are tempting, but I definitely want more ways to... Well, so the amulets are nice, because obviously they don't impede your current turn. So you could play the amulet, you could pop the amulet. You'd have to swing with something else first, or discard something first. But then that's your blue. Potions might be a little slow. Where this gets a little bit better, since you can just discard it. But then the maybe. Still not sold on it. Generic. When I say that, I mean literally generic. If you would dealt, so we don't want, if you would be dealt, we'd want just prevent. I think if you've dealt damage this turn, reveal the top card of your deck if it has power greater than the amount of damage you've dealt. That with allies? Backfinding mission, nope. Opting does seem great as well. Flying high in both yellow and blue seems great. Alliance Scout played from the arsenal, go again. Ash card from their graveyard. Lead the charge. Right, that works with, yeah, allies. Just any card like that where we can just play it. Right, same with Flying High. Play our allies and then benefit. Looking for a scrap. If we're taking a bunch of the low-cost blues, low power blues, like Frontline Scout, just have a blue attack that you can swing with first, then potentially looking for a scrap is nice. A 1 for 3 go again does seem awful, but just ingrained in blue. Has to be an opponent. Imagine if you could discard Nasty Surprise with chart. That's just destroy Crazy Brew. Yeah. Life for a life. Extra gold gen. Your next attack is turn, so that does work with allies. But it seems like there'll be just straight ways to create gold that don't give your opponent an out to get the gold themselves. Oasis Respite, prevent the next 2 damage to be dealt to the target hero. Nope. Peace of Mind. Feels like you do just want to play them on your turn, though. And go again. What kind of the deck face down to their arsenal? I don't think Promise Plenty would ever really work right, because your opponent could just, depending what's in their arsenal, just block. Don't care about Marked. You could just take pummels for the big attacks. I mean, there's just value things that would slot in, like Pursued Knowledge. We're looking for just direct interactions. Stat line wise, right? 4 or 6 is 6. You get Rouse? We get some, like an 8 ally, right? That's 2 cost to swing. I could see Rouse going in. Now, Rowdy Locals I do like, right? Because it's a bigger must prevent by your opponent, right? If you try and discard an ally with it. Rifting, that's another one. So if this hits, you may play your next no-attack action card turn as though it were instant, right? Meaning that you could play an ally from the graveyard, give it go again. Well, not give it go again. Well, yes. Becomes an instant and gains go again through the compass. There's the thing I was missing, right? And then all of a sudden, drifting is just better. Sift, just as a blue to cycle. Sigil of Cycles, definitely. Any of the other sigils decent? Not really. I mean, look at that. We're already at 45 cards, too. Granted, it's probably a little bit too blue. Long doesn't hit any of the allies. See, that's the other thing. With back alley break line, you'd also kind of take the yellows, right? No. Yeah, so I think that's strangely decent. Right, and then again, take the back alley yellows. Take ourselves out flying high. And then weirdly, because again, I expect more allies, we just go open. And I'm just going to put all of the allies to 9, to 6. Right? Essentially, like, we have another set of 3. That's a 60-card deck, just like that. Good? Eh. It's still a matter of how fast you find the allies and can, get rid of them. Because, we have the 1 discard currently, and then we're basically hoping to always get the gold back. There definitely needs to be a few more discard cards. There's still interactions here. And now I have to sit through everything. Discard, generic. And we want us discard. Trade in, that was another one I was thinking about, right? Discard an ally, draw a card back. Just stick it in the arsenal. Then you probably just take the blue. Right of the rear guard, though, defensively. So that you get your value back through your allies. So you'd probably take the blue and... Actually, color-wise doesn't matter because the block value doesn't change. So, 3, 6, 9... I guess 15, because it's a double? 15 ways to discard, plus then Gravy Bone's actual ability. Right, fair, okay. Okay. We'll go back to Big Maxx. Now Marlin's also going to be interesting. I think I won't take Max V out of this deck too, though. Marlin. So what we're most interested in is just the draw cards. Although Harpoons is probably definitely going to be the go. I definitely do want to play around with Death Dealer, right? And what you can end up drawing. Definitely in Lion Strike if we're going aggro, since you can just convert the Harpoons into it. Graverkind seems fantastic. Though you do want big stuff. Non-arcane boots. I feel like against Warrior you do actually want the slight value. The budget dynamos. That's what I have to do. Probably going to get run over. Against Fatigue, I want this version of the deck. Against Warrior, aggro, or just mid. Definitely want the other variant. But we'll see how we fare. And the damage output on this version's better. Once we get the ball rolling. Should be blocked with cards. Especially the jump starts. There's nothing I can make about it. God. How much do we walk into Reprise? So I'm tempted to just triple block and look for a better hand. And then if they still have to go again and the additional hits, at least we have equipment. I guess in that scenario the correct thing to do would be double block. But this probably gets over the top. Oh. Alright, well we kept the blue for our turn anyway. This is the big problem. If things line up, it's fantastic value. You draw them like this, it's utter garbage. I have to send the crankshaft. Pitching the other one. Guess I'm holding on to the gas up. No, because I really have to get the ball rolling on this deck. So annoyingly, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's literally clamp press and the hyperdriver. And then we're at the whims of whatever their runaway turn is. Plus then they also have the helm whenever to break us down. You know what? Maybe it's stash the clamp press. Just swing with Banksy. It's a very, very rough turn. Yikes. Yes, I'm kind of glad. You can clap back pretty hard, but that's awful too. Really don't want the counters. Guess we're looking to block against the not ace. And just giving up the max V. Yeah. Have to worry about the counters. So they still have one card. Assume it's a 3. Otherwise, I'd like to just block through equipment. Has to be the max V in this scenario because I can't play it. So, problem is once Dawnblade ramps up, I'm screwed. I'm just gonna play as aggressive as I can. I'm gonna keep the max V. Hmm. Is there a way for me to get a wrench swing? No. By Foundry Heart, Maxx. Still the same thing. I just need the 2 resources. Good, because we're not going for wrench this turn. Be gutted if we hit a bunch of hyperdrivers. We're ahead, but not really. Yeah, and then we get kind of rough. The rev ups. I don't want to drop it to a 2 for 5, but I feel like it needs to be in yellow because it's definitely rough getting to that. Yes, we're just trading, and it's whoever ramps up quicker, which should be them, especially with Blade Fury in the top 8 cards. Six is more reasonable though. Still that Arsenal card. What's our turn? So 3 is Boundary Heart. So it's 0, Clamp Press. I can block 6 and be okay with it. Yeah, that's what we're expecting. Well, at least we get the +1. But I think their weapon's scarier. We don't even set up a hyperdriver either. Or just draw into 2 of them. Just regret our choices. No, just the other clan press. And a max fee. Yikes. Like, this can be such great value, but just so much variance. Why wasn't there just a search? Like, it doesn't have to be put in play, just put it on the top of your deck, right? So you can set up the boosting. Just a little bit more love. Maxx needs. God. What have I been doing? I can't play the clan press. So, I guess it's a zipper hit. We're blocking like that. But I might as well block against the second one, but it doesn't matter at this point, because we hate our life. And then a 5. Oh, wait, no, did they not have the go again? They didn't pop bolters. No, they did. No, they did. Wherever the go again came from. Rough. And they get another counter. Four into a 5. Not enough even to pressure lethal. Whereas they definitely have the 9. This a bigger version of Maxx to me just doesn't get off the ground running. Like, I'd rather just have a rough time into fatigue matchups. Yeah, no reason for them to block. Like, look at this hand. Like, usually all I have to worry about pitching is into Maxx and Banksy with the aggro version. Just give 2 cards both times. Again, I really just want one to boost, but I can't. Oh, they have the supremacy anyway, so it's definitely over. Beautiful. And then just a swing to finish. Yeah. Still, nice, fun, quick games. I think I'm going to stick with just the aggro list. Alright, Marlin. So, the thought is, how should the turns go, right? So, Death Dealer getting us 2 arrows. Is that really that impactful? With the arrows that are currently in play, not so much. I guess we should still lean into Harpoons. Maybe there's just enough draw anyway to not actually worry about Death Dealer. Meeps is the other one that I would be interested in. Actually, Sift as well. But at least with the Line Strike, you can convert your Harpoon into it. Previous Meeps says go again. If it lands, you get to load. Brave of Kind just is such an easy arrow turn. Yes, we should just stick with the big Harpoons. I'd expect one more set of them as well. But now we just need essentially value blues for the buffing side. Like Toxicity comes to mind. And like Gravy Bones, it's probably mostly blue and yellow now. Then other big arrows like Battering Bolts. Here's our 1-cost arrows. Is it Sleep Dart? Is that the one I'm thinking about? Well, they probably just get sideboarded in. So when in doubt, just stick with. No, we don't do aim. Aim counter. Arsenal face up, gains 2, that's an easy 6. 1 for 6. We're going wide, I'd like Widowmaker, but this version, not so much. Suppose you just take second shot as a go again. We're at 34. Probably just be the fatigue, hamstring, and sleep dart to cycle in, depending on the matchup. Maybe even Timidity. With Velda coming. Been wondering if Marlin is going to be tall or wide hero. It feels like she can do both due to the kit. Yeah. Yeah, Death Dealer, just fantastic for going wide. Still sort of depends on the arrows we see. Because her load is strictly arrows, right? Yeah. But there is still a decent amount of them, right? Sigma shots, the aim counter one. Is it aim counter go again? No, it's has go again, but aim counter gets it +1, I think. And then bolt and shot being the easy one. Or then, yeah, just big through the harpoon cannon. Which either way, you're still taking some sense of aggro. Like, Line Strike just seems great. Convert a gold to a harpoon. Then just have a 0-5 go again that you haven't spent a card on. That's just way above, right? Into a big arrow anyway. And 3 of a kind just fetching you an arrow into, either pitchables for the harpoon cannon. Well, mostly just pitchables for the harpoon cannon because you only be able to load arrows. Let's find an arrow and give it +4 essentially. Like even Golgarian Tome, I think I like just because it's the reload. And Pirate Hook is still a definite. Yeah, like Conqueror. And you can take like the Flying Heights as well because they're open-ended. It's just a go again buff anyway and get the value out of just it being arrows and shutting down your opponent. Because if your turn is literally just like remorseless something else, and you've just thrown Flying High in the mix as well, right, off of Death Dealer, that seems kind of valid. No, I should probably do this. This would be the tool variant. MMM. I'm blind. There she is. Ready with Flying High. Which it is, it's only a 2-block. It's just so open-ended. Give big things go again. And even if you're using this to make your big arrows bigger, right? You take Death Dealer. You definitely take New Horizon with Death Dealer. What's the other one? Let's lead the charge. 0 greater. 1 greater. 2 greater. So I feel like you could get away with these also being your pitchables. Right? And that's already 3, 6, 12 instances to go again. To then still run the big arrows. You'd want 1 in 4, so I guess you could also take Captain's Call. No, what's the fire? The actual Ranger one. Right, so that's technically a 1 in 4. So every turn you could have a go again connector, right? And Death Dealer is essentially handling your arrows anyway. Then you just go 1 or greater arrows, most likely. I suppose we should do arrows in general. in this scenario, do you really care about just taking the value arrows? I feel like you can get away with the ones. You might have a little bit of a rough time with the Harpoons, though. I mean, actually, in that scenario, you take Bolt and Shot just because it's a connector if it lands and gets you to 3 arrows a turn. Yeah, might as well put Snatch. I mean, these are just attacks. Flying High just is such an interesting card. Because again, every instance of this that we've gotten is generally capped in some way, right? Lead the Charge, Captain's Call, both cost gated, Trot Along, power gated, right? So having just this open-ended, any attack gains go again is just kind of nuts deck construction-wise to me. And it's not even Pirate, it's just generic. I haven't played Ranger in too long, so get what all the good arrows are, but to be honest, it feels like just taking a crapshoot. I'm just more curious to see if you can actually line up easily the 2 arrow turns. And as long as they're impeding the opponent in some form. Yeah. God. That's crazy. I didn't think of that. That's like just the ultimate fatigue turn. Because you're only losing 1 card to deal 12 as well. Oh, God. I have to play around with Guardian now. Yeah, just it opens up so much for so many decks, so many weapon choices. Fatigue. Not Heat Seeker, where's Searing Shots? Damage. Yes, Pathing Helix, because it's reload. You don't really need to prevent so much anymore. Like, it feels like this should be gated. By something. Like, if they matched color completely, they'd be pretty dead in the water. I think I have a... Where's my books? I feel like I have a Cold Fall Sledge. Which would be fantastic. Uh, Long Draw seems good. He's still taking Line Strike. Take a Red Snatch. I mean, Sift is another easy reload. I mean, that's mainly for big. Is this only... No, it's arrows for 4. Beautiful. Alright, let's just give this a go. Has to be open. So I'm just curious how often this lines up. We got the Flying High, we got the Rapid. So in this scenario, you go Death Dealer. Attempt to keep the Flying High because I get snatched. Nah. Do that. Load the Remorseless. Draw another Remorseless. Go Rapid Fire. Then double Remorseless. So either they lose their hand to blocking or they're now doubled Remorseless. But it's not during your action phase. People corrected me because I was thinking that. Because it's still start of your end phase, right? Yeah, beginning of your end phase. Marlin is just during your action phase. Oh, And look at that. I can snatch on top of that turn. I mean, we might as well Arsenal face up. Like, be prepared. No. Arsenaling face up is wrong. You take Trench, and then you end your turn Arsenal face down, because then that just covers Death Dealer. Yeah. That's better. So we've missed the go again here, though. So you'd also take Purge Grapplers as basically a 1 out, in case you miss. Purge, and then Trench. Still 5 cards short. We don't have the gold for the E-Strike, but still useful. So I guess we look for the arrows first. So you go Death Dealer, load. So we didn't find an arrow there, so that's a bit rough. But our turn is still kind of nice. So we go lead the charge. Kraken. Now we need the pitch. Question is, are these arrows big enough and functional enough? Hoping Nazali actually pops off and gets it past LL. Yeah. That feels pretty nuts. I mean, it feels like there will be more incentive to go big. Rid of the heavy costs. Load. Load. So yeah, so in this scenario, well, no, we still have enough resources. You'd go flying high, steering shots, into a fatigue shot. So the question though is this actually functionally better than, you know, the 11, well, 9 to say 13 that Azalea throws out and potentially would dominate sometimes? In terms of actually landing the debilitating arrow effects. I think in order for Wide Marlin to actually be functional, you'd have to be able to consistently get to 3 arrows. Not to mention if you do take, say, for instance, Tri-Shot with Rapid Fire, or even just the Purge Grapplers, that's a big turn right there. I mean, Tri-Shot would be 6 arrows. Yeah, the big thing is the arrow effects have to carry it, right? Because you will be under rate for an aggro deck. I should just pass and see what the next turn is. And I definitely haven't balanced a deck with cost. Probably want the rainbow. Like here, we're really hoping a pitchable for the big game trophy. But at least we could play it. But like that's not enough. But yeah, I could always longer in this scenario. And then bolt and shot. I mean, with Death Dealer, it's just easy access to big hands. Well, I guess they're not actually that big. It'll be harder to build overall, Death Dealer. Because the whole thing is arrows weren't necessarily built to, you know, string together. Like 10, like double Remorseless, or Remorseless with any other debilitating effect would be 10 for something. Which one's hamstring? Does it prevent... I don't know, the first attack action. Costs 1 additional. Yeah. So I would say because of the current meta. Right, because that does impede a lot of turns. I mean, adding one resource to a lot of finely tuned curves, especially, when you get to top competitive decks, is really problematic. Why Frostbite's always, an awful thing to deal with, because you just have to completely adjust, right? The whole, what's it called? Which one? This. The statistical ratioing of your deck, right, goes up by 0.3 if you factor in Frostbite or something like Hamstring Short, and that throws it all out of whack. But it helps with Aurora, it helps with Syndra. Probably die back down, right? Because Aurora's, leveling out. She's still going nuts, but yeah. Just adding to anyone's cost curve, especially if it's an upfront cost, is just hugely significant. Go look for another game. Now, Puffin, I don't feel we have much at all to go off on. Other than just a whole bunch of crank value items. Oh, found Florian straight away. How much you want to bet this is Fatigue? Since that's the rage at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, tool decks it messes up as well. What am I meant to do? I guess I go for the 3 hyperdrivers. They're not Fatigue. I mean, if they Purgatory straight away, I'm screwed. Is it worth setting up 3 or arsenaling 1? That's the question. Right, I'll just arsenal the Expedite. The problem with Maxx, all it takes is one horrendous draw, and it throws everything out of whack. They're getting 2 hyperdrivers. 4 hyperdrivers in 73 cards. Awful. Swing with something so I can get rid of this, please. Don't be set up. Why does it seem like you're set up? Thank you. Nope. Never mind. I mean, I can still swing with it. Half a jacket would have been insane. Burn Press is actually nice since we have the hyperdrivers. Expedite first. I can't use the super up, so that's just pitch. But 4 resources. And I need 5. That's fine. Good. Problem is, none of these are really must blocks. Hyperdriver. We believe. Boost. Not a hyperdriver, but not something we really care about. I'm tempted to swap the dumpster dives to the Med-X. Then at least to your opponent, it's maybe they have an item. And therefore, a must block. So this version of the deck is very, very just aggro-centric. So I really only need one hyperdriver. Like, that was probably the roughest curve we could have drawn, especially with the clamp press on top of it. So as long as we're just, max into Banksy every turn, and keeping that one hyperdriver, I'm happy. Good see equipment here. The Purgatory is still just a big FU waiting to happen. We take the guaranteed clamp press, or I'd rather have 2-1 on the hyperdrivers. I think that's a smarter move, even if we lose the clamp press. Incentivize them next turn to definitely block Banksy. God. I keep the 3, and I cycle the other hyperdriver. We're still not doing anything with the rune chance. This is such a saving grace to the deck. Wait, I have 2 resources, don't I? So I'd rather get rid of the blue. Yeah. Gigawatt for a bigger rent swing is definitely nice. So 0 to 50 gets us 2 resources. Puts us to 3. So I can T-Bone or keep the T-Bone. So I should probably Arsenal the T-Bone for when Purgatory screws me over. I mean, they might as well just go for it here. That'd also kind of wreck me. At least we could sack the T-Bone. Banksy feels super nice. Plus that incentive because we do have that clamp press. Problem is, are we going to pick apart their hand enough? Or should I throw T-Bone out there? No, I'll Arsenal the T-Bone. I mean, we know they have the Felling. So the extra card would be nice. So I always get them confused. Which one's the hand? Which one's the Arsenal? Yeah, Felling's the hand. Yeah, so I think I'd rather dash the T-Bone. It's not as impactful, the yellow T-Bone, against this matchup. We're trying to just get through their equipment. I suppose getting the bark skin before they're online is kind of nice. Yeah, it would set me up for an easier cost turn next turn if I, draw badly. Maybe that was the better play. And technically, they could still also Purgatory me anyway. I think they're considering it. They'd just yoink the last card. Plus, then they still go back on the offensive. Yeah. Although, if the damage still gets across, I'm kind of happy. Suppose in that scenario, it would have been better to completely play the hand. That would have been playing around the Purgatory a bit better. And they still have a rebound. Still, I think that's a nice trade. Plant press for, kind of their turn, but kind of not their turn, because they obviously just... Oh no, they are felling. Interesting. Have we hit a hyperdrive? We've not hit a hyperdriver. So, I want to keep the gas up to Arsenal. I want to play 0 to 60 so I can max Banksy. So, we're getting rid of one. I guess I should save the gas up. I don't like taking the 8, but I guess I take the 8. So I can Arsenal 0 to 60. Then hopefully have a more aggressive turn. Once we get under 20, that's when I really gotta think a bit more about the blocking. I can only get to 2. So well grounded and then grasp is all they block with. If I were to go with the shockwave, I've got about the resources from the hyperdriver. I suppose we can keep magnetic. So I always have the Achilles to just throw it out there as a 4. Feel like I do. Just I have to continue pressuring. I have all of the 0 for 3 reds in the deck. So the only other conversion would be to make it a buff card, which I'd still rather just having that initial boost. Basically, I'm putting all my eggs in the Banksy basket, which is probably not the best choice, but it does work more often than old Maxx, so I'm kind of happy with it. Though this deck definitely loses hard to fatigue, because I just go ham. I even take yellow soup up as a potential 0-3 go again. Although this as a block is kind of nice, right? A 4 block. So their turn is not just, no, it is just Reaping Blade. Which they're just going to continue to whittle me down. No, as in like I take 3 copies of all of them. And I also always put in the whole sideboard, so I don't even swap stuff out. So this turn's actually kind of nice, right? We have the 2 resources. So I think I'm still just taking the damage. So I can yoink all their equipment, which doesn't do much yet, but I guess helps. We're at that 20, so I'll need to start blocking. I guess I'm still not doing the Mechanetic. Like, there's... The unfortunate part is there are a few cards that I'd love to swap out to something else in this deck for certain matchups, but I really just run through the deck so quickly. Which is kind of not a good showing, considering we're not really putting a dent in this Florian. Well, they've gone us to 20. So I have Foundry Heart, Maxx, Jumpstart. I mean, it's 3, 6, 10, 15, 18 damage turn. Kind of nice. And still maintaining the arsenal. All at the cost of a ton of cards. But it should mean we get a little bit of damage across. And it's just if we could keep the tempo like this, we'd be super happy. Alright, the next one's the item. So we have that extra 4. Nope. Just a BIOS update. Problem with Puffer Jacket is, unfortunately, it's just like everything else, subject to that variance. If it targeted tokens, that'd be fantastic. Then it would definitely be worth playing. But since it doesn't target tokens, you're at the folly of, do I find the hyperdrivers? And the main one is blue, right? Because it making blue playable is the big thing. Alright, so now I have to start actually protecting myself. Do I? Maybe I don't. Problem is, we're not playing the Clamp Press. Although we're not playing Jumpstart either. The thing is, though, would it really be crazy for Maxx? He goes up like 3 damage a turn in terms of consistency. And that probably puts him still under Aurora for aggro. It's like if Clamp Press was a 1 cost and had 1 less Steam counter, so Expedite, all these other cards could hit it. Would that have been so bad, or would that have just made him that little bit more consistent? It's like they did a lot of stuff to help. I'm not going to argue that. They made Maxx, I think, playable. But it does feel like they were conservative on some of the design choices. Maybe because, Puffin will use hyperdrivers or something, right? And then it'd get out of hand. God. This is gunking up my arsenal. I can always play it. It'd only be 2 boost anyway. Then stash the Clamp Press. Then try and recoup the following turn. Otherwise, I just pitch the Clamp Press into a hyperdriver now and just continue with the aggro run. I think is what I actually have to do. Yeah, not cranking the hyperdrivers. The boosting part, we still, unsure. But then, yeah, more incentive. They could have just done it solely for Maxx. The question isn't so much whether or not she wants boost in high seas. It's more so, does she end up just boosting? That was also the wrong card. Now I have to Foundry Heart. I was meant to Jumpstart Banksy. Jumpstart 0 to 50, right? I had the hyperdriver. Oopsie daisy. Lose 2 more cards. But yeah, so the question is more so, will she want the cards that come with ICs, or will the boost package still be strong enough for her? It's just, playing 2 items a turn, and then, throwing a whole bunch of aggro. And that should be enough to, again, put her above Maxx, right? The boom grenades carry so much weight when you're getting 1 for free, essentially. What 2 cards did I boost? Yeah, we didn't want either of them in our hand anyway. Foundry Heart was correct. Alright, we're at the point of just trading back and forth, which I guess is nice. I'm just gonna fatigue out anyway, but it's nice. What is my turn? guess it's finally try and play the Mechanetic. Since we have T-Bone, so we definitely grab all their equipment. Don't want to continue taking the damage, but I guess I'm continuing to take the damage. I'm hoping we get a whole bunch more Galvanites. Because then that would also incentivize Maxx to run what most people are running with him, right? Where you're setting up 2 to 3 hyperdrivers and maintaining them. Because Galvanize is definitely strong. And if you have a lot of those, upkeep items where move steam counter at the start, then Galvanize is just all that better. Because rather than them just being dead items at the start of your turn. But I'd also like more of those triggers, right? If an item you control is being destroyed this turn, that would definitely be nice and functional. If I'm Mechaneticing, I'm not cranking. So I'm going T-Bone. Problem is the action point still. This needs to go in this type of matchup. This is not something I play straight away. We T-Bone, Hyperdriver, crank it, boost it, and get 2 4s off, which is kind of the pressure we need to maintain. I guess that's what I'm doing. Just continuing with the aggro line. I mean, it is surprising to me how much we're clawing this back steadily. So it's, another good 3 turns probably before we fatigue out. Promo version of Cognition Field. I always get confused with the Klloo one, right? There's one in Everfest, one in Klloo. Nice thing though is we do have the proper database now. Oh, notes. I was thinking of notes. That's not what you want to see, in all honesty. But what was I expecting in terms of the card they actually use? So the embodiment just shits on our turn. So I guess it's a hefty pivot to just setting up and then probably dying, but I think setting up is correct in this scenario. I do want to look at that though. We live and then regain tempo. That's the question. It's not we want a block hand, in all honesty. It's a nice amount of damage hand, but it's not a block hand. It's 2 7s, which is fantastic. We have to deal with Gloomveil 5 into another Reaping. Or potentially whatever this card is. We're going to take it on the nose because I want to play our hand more than anything. 7/7/4. That seems super nice. Just Reaping and Arsenal? Yeah. Problem is, this doesn't KO, so there's no incentive for them to empty their hands. But there is no apparent promo for Cognition Fields. Ben's made sure an item, it's just a 5 block. Still, 5 block's nice. God damn embodiments. Still, at least we threw 18. That makes me happy. I don't know, it feels like we're sort of curving away. Like things that you want to land, you know, used to be a 6, now it's an 8. In terms of that getting to the growing heights. Like even Marlins will be 10s. Yeah, 6 plus 4 from the harpoon cannon. Like the curve is slowly increasing. Which in that case, yes, a 5 is still better than a 4. And the cogs seem like they're easy gimme. Easy gimme. Yeah. Now we get wrecked. So many hyperdrivers finally for Hyper Scrapper. It does salvage my turn. I want to give him the Arsenal card, but obviously I don't want to die. I guess I block with 1 card. Go to 2, not 1, because of the rune chant. I have so many in there. I'd almost prefer to make it bigger. Yeah, I have so many. We'll just swing as big as possible. Make it a 5. It becomes an 8. No, 7. One, two, three, four, 5. Still plenty to spare. Wish there was more payoffs for the 6 resources. Still, Maxx is definitely putting up a better fight than what he was. I mean, we have the double galvanize. And the pitch. It turns awful either way. Because I don't have a boost. This type of hand is why I want all the 0 boosts. Suppose it's throw the soup up? And stash the gigawatt. Good old 4. Which definitely seals the deal. Mediocre. Did we really run through all our boosts? Because we're not really finding any. I think we just say 0-0. Be done with it. Quickfire, that is the minus cost, right, per hyperdrivers? 106 damage pressured. The damage received? Not really, no. Yeah, it's switch play stats, there we go. Yeah, versus 53. It's all that block value. Quickfire. Should come up, right? She's a mech. So it'd be a 0 plus 4. And all you need is 2 hyperdrivers. Next attack you boost this turn is the awkwardness. Because my mentality would be replace Gigawatt with it, right? Because it's, costs 1 less. But Gigawatt landing on the wrench is definitely nicer. If you can always land the 0 cost, right, it's nice. The problem is, so many of the buffs are that awful 2-block value. And you don't have all the nice defense reactions that everyone else gets to run. You have Galvanize, which, yes, it's a 4-block, but it is, reducing your game plan, because you're losing your, most likely a hyperdriver to do it. If it's not seeing play currently, I don't think it will see play, right? Because the main versions of Maxx, again, are hitting, 2 to 3 hyperdrivers. Yeah, the majority are either boost or next mechanized attack action. It's Gigawatt and one that gives Dominate are the only ones that are broad. And just that flexibility is a lot nicer. There was also, more impactful mech attacks. But, the majority of them are vanilla or put an item into play. And even then, the majority of people, in especially Maxx, the the rate of Expedite or any of those put an item into play hitting is not fantastic. So it always feels nice when an opponent does block them, because just in my head I go, this is not needing a block. Move Steam counter, the next attack action card gain. No, so that's card. It's a straight buff. I mean, I doubt there's many dominate mech, right? Which one is it? Boost. Maybe I'm off my head. Oh no, there we go. Pedal to the metal. Yeah. So next attack this turn gains dominate. But even that's kind of unnecessary. If it was on a 1 cost, I'd kind of like it for Banksy. But, you still have the big payoff of Bank Breaker, right? Having Overpower, or just taking Nitro and having that with Overpower. But, Coffin definitely has, I'd say equivalent to the Gravy in terms of going on, right? In terms of trying to plan out something. So the weapon's still really up in the air. The value just apparently is just poly on items. I'm hoping there's either a way to repurge it, right, and protect it, or heck, just summon another parrot. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, this is just such a great card with items. The question is, which cranks? I definitely think it's all the boom grenades. The scrap cards are actually interesting. Which one is Hopper? Pretty quicken. I mean, they're easy enough to trigger. Evo's definitely nice. I think that's more dependent on her weapon. Because here's, again, going back to boost, right? The majority of attacks that were running a boost, so you look at quicken and you go, well, you really need it? But yeah, if it is mainly pirate stuff, she will. The problem is stuff like Boom Grenade, right? The Boom Grenade is Mech-Knowledge Attack. The other big, buff one, the Hadron Collider, is when you boost. Yeah, when you boost an attack. But, that said, you're hoping to basically always find 2 items, but you don't want to take, obviously, 30 items. So, I feel like she'd be at 18 to 20-ish. And you can get that straight away just from, the Boom Grenades and the Dissolving Shields, if I could spell. Or less. So, prevent 3. If you're getting the drawback, I'm more happy, taking the lesser. So even if it's, I guess, not the... Well, you can always pitch the blue Boom Grenade, I suppose. Like, that's 12 items so far. Horde, I mean, the other easy one is... Which script is it? There we go. Right? So all your Mech Knowledge attack actions go again. And then there's actually, the scripts are really nice, right? A flat +1. I hate Steel Street Hoons being 3 cost. I wish it was just a nice solid 2 for 5 blue, right? When you get the item destroyed. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, it's probably in currently. See, system resets are means to the end, right? So if we're taking, it's whichever protocol she ends up taking, or whatever items she's running. But system reset. The problem is we so Dio-IO wants it for Symbiosis Shot for that big runaway turn. Maxx would want it for Nitro. Klloo would want it for Singularity if you ever get that going, right? So it's just, again, kind of a reliance on her weapon. I mean, the nice thing is you don't have to crank them, right? You just crank 2 to get your action point back. Sorry, crank 1 to get the action point, crank 2 if you need an extra action point, and then just reset them for the upkeep cost, I guess would be kind of nice. But it does kind of seem like overkill. Because it would still just be a loss in tempo to maintain things for a following turn. But, I mean, just racking up Boom Grenades is so much pressure, actually, so potentially. Put it in the maybe section. Main thing is we're what do we have? It's Skywarden as the big one, right? We don't even know all the cogs. That's the other thing. All of these items, the cogs could fill any sort of need whatsoever because they could all do a bunch of different stuff. Golden Cog's not even here because it's token. But like Sky Simmer and the game go again through that does indicate somewhat that she won't be boosting. Like, why can't Maxx have more stats like that? Tap a cog and you get a 0 for 5 go again. 0 for 5 or go again, right? Which is definitely nice. This gets... There's no way to cheat that. Because it is once per turn instant. So as long as it's on the chain, right, you could still pop it. Interesting. I mean, maybe Cogs will be something for Maxx too. That'd be nice. But the big one is like that Pelleter Aeronaut, right? Since it's thrice, we expect most likely 2 cogs on board is a stable thing, and then getting to 3 now and then to actually get this off would be where my mind's at. All depends on the cogs still. Because system reset for cogs, that could be worthwhile, right? Because they all, well, I'm assuming they'll all have the upkeep cost. And just with a steam counter, so you tend to destroy this unless you remove a steam counter. Because so far with Puffin, definitely seems like the cogs are, one and done. Which is fine. You set it up, you crank it, that's your crank. You get your draw off of one item. Then you have it for Galvanize, which is definitely good value for block. So she's looking like she'll be kind of mid-range, which is nice. Kind of refreshing. Where I think Klloo should sit, but he has no chance in hell because they grossly overcosted Evos. So all these are just a cog. I'm hoping we get more than just the golden cog. But yeah, a way to establish them. I mean, them just serving as simply tap fodder for other cards. When we get to this point of adding, 2 to 3 steps to make something playable, it always kind of falls short, right? Because it just gets outcompeted by taking what's already established, what's already quick. I mean, a 2 for 7 that destroys equipment is definitely nice. Definitely beats a 4 for 7. But it seems like, just like the other two, she'll want a good mix of colors. Because taking the blues just to feed into gold is nice enough. Any other interesting items? Yes, if she does take a whole bunch of items, process is kind of nice. Let's see, which one's mini force field? Oh, the ward one. Probably still not worth it. Like, the issue is always just, because ward can be anywhere from its value to 1. So, setting this up for 1 cost to protect 1 to 3/4 damage, depending on the turn. Mostly 1 to 3, because you'd still be cranking it as Puffin, right? It's just awful. It'd be 0. I mean, it's so nice to just end a turn, throw a 0 for 4, ward up. But, yeah. Because we're still in that, aggro sort of meta. Because Aurora won't go till probably post ICs, right? So no, I don't think Mini Force Field will work out. The problem is the card like Fast and Furious, right? If we're not actually boosting, if we are taking pirate cards or even just generics, I would like to take generics and pirate cards, right? Because it would be a refreshing, sit down to create Puffin, and all of a sudden your deck construction is significantly more open than all the other mechs. What's she at? There's still all the pro quests. Uh, 773. I don't think so, no. I think there's enough events for it to end up. I feel like because of all the tinkering stuff they're doing, right? So poly, the cogs and everything, it's got to be a wrench. Just it would fit her theme a lot better. Again, it's just crazy to me how perfect Banksy would just work with Puffin. I feel it would be better incentive is Puffin. Because the big problem with Maxx and Banksy is you go it's 1 for 3 with blood spill essentially, right? Because you in most cases getting a counter for the hyperdriver, so that's getting 1 extra resource, right? But then you've also had to jump through the hoop of cranking in order to swing it, which Maxx, loses value on, whereas Puffin will gain value on. So Banksy being anywhere from a 2 to a 3 cost to swing for 3 and upkeep a resource, which isn't really upkeeping a resource because you still have to boost. It's not great. I mean, you could have both. Finally get one-handed weapons for the mech, right? Have a spanner instead of a wrench. I guess that's more fitting for Cogs than have a pistol that's actually a one-handed pistol, right? I really thought that she was further along than Gravy, but yeah, you have no idea. Mainly because it's up in the air without boosting. That definitely changes things greatly. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I like the aggro variant more. Probably going to run into another fatigue game, but oh well. Yeah, but the choice would be nice. I mean, just linguistically. It'd be weird to state it just being an addition to a weapon. Although, if it was like a quiver, and she could have both. What's an... it's actually kind of nice. It's aggro, and I get to go first. But yeah, it's probably a two-handed. And I still think wrench. Or I should say I'm hopeful for wrench. So I can get to 4. No. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, if I want. Well, Klloo. The clamp press, and I think that's better. No Arsenal card, but we have to go ham. Actually, no, I'm wrong, because I could have floated. I'm sorry, person. I'm getting tired. That's significantly better floating the resource. No, it's not. It's the same thing. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. Crank that. Don't crank that. It's definitely the last game. I'll of course save the Skyward straight away. I mean, we did have the clan press straight away, so I guess it's fair. What's our turn? 0 swoop up, pulse wave, Banksy. I don't have to. I think we're just taking damage. I think we're just trading. Their turn so far is 6. 5-second Arsenal. Only 11. Versus our turn of 3, 6, 10, 13. We're ahead. No, 15. Unless I want to play Steel Street Hoons. But I can't get to the Pulse Wave, actually. Would be a 5, though. Eh. They might have a 2. Item Break, create gold. It'd have to have some sort of condition to it, because that's way too much value. Unless it's something like destroy an item, give it, I know, +1 and on hit, create a gold. That could be a bit more workable. Zood and Lightning Surge, and they're both 2 block. 1 pizza, turn more. Well, this isn't in the arsenal. I don't have defense reactions anyway. So they're both equivalent. Yes, this ending up in the arsenal is worse for us. Right, we're ahead on damage against Aurora. Gonna change quickly. Definitely a Clint Press. I only still have our equipment to block, although they still have theirs as well. We haven't hit but gas up yet. So we need a Pitchfork for Dumpster Dive. So I guess it's cycle the Hyperdriver and pray. Zero costs. Beautiful. And actually neating break an item +1 create gold on hit. Yeah, yeah. My thoughts too as I was thinking it up. So Exude 4, and they do have the Lightning Valley. Too much value. But most likely they, well, yeah, no, most likely they still get off of their last card, so I might as well take the damage and just try to clap back harder. Four, 7, 10, 15. It's still a decent turn on our side. I have to sack the Hyperdriver, though, to maintain what I'm doing right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I don't. Bottom the T-bone. I guess it's nice enough having a 0-3. Well, actually, I'm boosting it. I want to keep the 0-3, so I did want to bottom it. And look for a Hyperdriver. Oh well. If I draw one now, I'll be sad. Rank and swing. So they're down to 12. I take whatever they're going to dish out next. And then hopefully we just maintain pressure. Because we should be able to pressure their life. Oh, sigil, never mind. And I don't have the resource for the arcane. That is disgusting. Well, never mind. They're ahead, significantly. Go for a Scar. I still want to get rid of you. But I guess we wait for something worse. Pretty much GG, yeah. A double Lightning Valley. What's this? Fuse games go again. I don't think there's actually any on hits I'm worried about. I should just be blocking, but yeah. Plus the somersaults. I will throw it out now. But still 4 more cards to go, so that's an easy 12. Maybe not. They run out of gas? Seven. Draw. So, it must be a pump in their arsenal? Snapdragons. We might live. Pump. Nope. Feels like the lightning press would have been better to keep. Unless they draw into blink. But I don't think Aurora takes blink, do they? Seems overkill. I guess they want to pitch for the Lightning Valley, most likely. Bias update first. We're most likely losing. Card to the Purgatory. That'd be the correct time. They can just pressure with their weapon. Yeah. Be expected. And so it's fast and furious, I suppose. And then we're just swinging. And now the Arc Lightning to finish us off. No, Exude. So we lose a Clamp Press, so I might as well keep the Pitch Ball, but block 4. And then Lightning Press, right? Lightning Press is anything. That feels really nice, being able to soup up a Clamp Press that's about to go. What was that turn? Yeah. Was just a straight 30 value. Disgusting. It's just, I'm liking Maxx just because of the consistency. It just gets outvalued because of those swing turns when they just claw it back. You can't drop their life quick enough where they're blocking everything. But I think that'll do me for today. Thought about Puffin, Marlin, and Gravy Bones a bit. Gravy Bones, again, the more I'm digging into it, the more surprising it is how much he's sort of shaping up. Yeah. Straight 30. You know, we didn't actually, did we? I think it's still kind of rough to find the correct start. Oh. So that's why we're in open. Damn. I guess they changed that. For consistency's sake, I wanted the 6s. So I assume there's going to be at least 6. It also surprised me, but all the they cut them down good. All of the High Seas heroes have been up and running on Teleshare. Whereas Maxx was, I think, like 2 days before the Armory deck came out was when he was up and running. Oh, the love. Yeah, I think. No 3 copies. Let's see. Well, that's the start you want. So, nice and easy. Call to the Grave. We have all blues, so I guess we get the big boy. Not Rigor Mortis, where's Sawbones? Which we can play. Oh, they have an icon for it too. If only we could get another one, because then Rifting would be great. I mean, we can play Rifting anyway. 6 resources. It'll be Rifting, Sawbones, Swing, but the Compass already takes care of it anyway. I guess that's still... I'm not thinking too much. But let... Oh, I guess Teleshare doesn't consider them. So, hits, you may play the next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Right? So allies count. They're being, yeah, I guess because they're being played from the Banish, maybe? Right, well, I guess it's just play the Sawbones. And then just swing with the Sawbones. So swinging for 6 and setting up 2 extra life. Seems kind of nice. Powder Blast to make use of one of them. We don't have the action point though. This is where Rifting would have been better. I haven't looked too deeply into it, but because there's been a few times where I wouldn't mind learning to help out with Teleshare, especially on the promos, because none of the promos are functional. But generally speaking, it's just a flag. So I guess they just missed the flag. Or maybe it's conflicting because you can't attack with it, so it considers it an attack action card. Yeah, well, I'm calling it an afternoon. But thanks for hanging out and chatting. And have a good sleep. I guess it's just Paddle Blaster. Or then just Dock Hands. Although I suppose Rowdy Locals, yeah, in the graveyard would have been better. But now that we have them established, it becomes a lot easier. Oh, these aren't... No, they are pay. To the tap. Look at that value. And we get another one in the graveyard anyway. Cool. Chart the High Seas value. Yes, I would like to pitch. Doesn't really matter, they're both entering. So then we can Conqueror, because we've pitched 2 blues. I don't know if that's necessarily better. And set up a 3rd Dock Hand. Yes, draw and discard. See what else we get. If we get 4 resources, that'd be disgusting. Tunic. Set up another one. And then Arsenal that. Yeah, our board is getting disgusting. This is where it gets a bit awkward. We don't have a way to gain the resource off Flee the Charge. But, when in doubt, just attack with a 6. Yeah. There is, regardless of weapon or anything like that, yeah, it's the priority to clear them. Just a 1 for 6 on board is disgusting. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Anyone hanging around and watching posts, thanks as always. Hope you enjoyed. Till there's news, these are just some light, easy Saturday streams. Well, Friday.